discovers that the day he left, his precious son had passed away.
What?
Now, his wife, furious and heartbroken,
Welcome back to another reaction video, and today we'll be reacting to the appeal of One Piece and also where to start at. You already know the drill, man. I'm trying to convince myself to watch One Piece, man. I'm still, I'm still not there yet, so we're gonna continue to watch other One Piece videos, see if I can finally get to watch One Piece, man. But shout out to all the new subscribers and the old subscribers, man. Y'all plugged in. And let's get into this video, man. I ain't trying to waste too much time. So let's go.
For a while now, there has been a certain ominous shadow cast across this channel. You see, as a YouTuber, I'm generally known for 4 things. My long, in-depth videos, my love of all things shonen, my utterly flawless spelling, and my absolutely perfect pronunciation of the Japanese language. And the problem with those former 2 is that at some points it means that I need to do a video on the series One Piece,
got turned off.
which is fine. I like One Piece quite a lot, in fact. But the issue comes from how insanely
Robin
long
is
the
fine
series
though.
is,
That might be
currently
another.
residing at its 833rd chapter, and the staggering breadth of its world, which, according to the One Piece wiki, has currently 866 named characters.
Jeez,
I know because I counted, and it took a long time.
What?
So how does one talk about such a massive series like One Piece?
Hold on, bro. 866?
Y'all killing me with this.
I think this is literally I was
If you have something to say, then just spit it out already.
talking about this on the last video on the breathtaking world of One Piece. Like, it's so many characters, bro. Like, how do you give build up to that character? Like, that is really hard to do. But man, that's my only thing about that. When I think about starting One Piece, like, am I really gonna get attached to characters in there? But look, I'm yapping right now, so we'll get back to the video.
Well, the answer that I've come to, at least, is the same way that one devours a whale.
Bro,
And that is
what happened to the
piece
whale?
by piece. One Piece.
Fuck no.
And so,
ain't no
what we're
way.
going to do here today is that rather than go straight into a full-blown why you should watch/read, which, don't worry, we will get to, is to first put out a shorter video covering what I consider some of the broader structural aspects of One Piece, which will then free us up and allow us to take a much deeper dive into the characters and themes later on. So with this in mind, my friends, please sit back, relax,
I'm already sitting back, bro. I'm chilling right
with the
now.
main course still to come. And let's discuss the appeal of One Piece.
Go ahead, bro. Go ahead and cook.
Where to start?
I
first encountered One Piece in 2006 on the UK television version of
UK.
Toonami, and unbeknownst to me at the time, what I was watching was the infamous 4Kids dub,
Oh my god.
which would become well
I heard
known at
about
the time
that.
for its questionable
it's straight
translation
ass,
and
bro.
excessive amounts of censorship.
Bro.
And even despite these factors,
Hold on. Did they change it? His cigarette to a lollipop, bro? Like, what?
Ain't no way, boy.
They were not cooking right there, bro. Like, I feel like for certain animes, like, if it's not like PG enough, wherever, it shouldn't be on there. There's no point, man.
I really came to enjoy the adventures of Nami, Zoro, and of course Luffy.
Who is
the series
that?
had a unique playfulness to it that made it stand out from other more stoic series I'd seen up until this point, like Bleach and Dragon Ball Z. And even in the show's more dramatic moments, there was always a tremendous amount
Bleach is top tier this time.
Of course, as I watched the imaginative pirate adventure on my parents'
Bro.
TV,
Long
what I
ass
was completely
arms.
unaware of was what a world-shattering phenomenon I was actually dealing with. That revelation would only strike me several years later, when, on a trip to Japan, it became obvious what a massive deal One Piece actually was. Around every corner in every shop seemed to lie another new piece of Straw Hat Pirate merchandise.
They got all the
Luffy and his
figures,
ragtag
bro.
crew were everywhere on everything. One Piece branded bread, One Piece bath salts, even entire One Piece branded shops.
Damn, is that serious?
To see how what I thought was a simple show about pirates utterly dominate the mass consciousness of a
Exactly.
single country. The closest thing I could liken it to was the Simpsons mania of early 90s America. This was, of course, before I started looking into things like global sales figures and weekly shonen rankings. And if I had, I would have known things like the fact that One Piece has sold over 400 million units worldwide.
Damn, that's really
The
good.
third biggest selling comic in existence, recently beating out Spider-Man for the number 3 spot, leaving only
Jeez.
Batman and Superman ahead of it. And even then, in 2016, Batman sold 1,859,956 units,
What?
and Superman sold 828,069
Damn.
units. And you could even roughly double the sales of both series by taking into account all their offshoot titles. And it still wouldn't even come close to the 12 million in sales that One Piece sold that same year. And where things really start to get
people
crazy
really love One Piece
is
like that?
if these trends were to
Golly.
continue and One Piece were to run for another decade, it would nearly certainly surpass Batman in lifetime global sales.
It probably
and
is.
if it were to run for another 2 decades,
I think
which
it-
for
One Piece
Oda's
is-
sake I hope doesn't happen, it would surpass even Superman becoming the biggest selling comic in existence. Now, I'm not saying I
One Piece is probably going to pass that. I think it's at like 1,000 episodes, I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong. Like, this shit is going to keep on going, bro.
think this will happen, but it's a hell of a thing to consider. And so, how has a series about a pirate boy made of rubber managed to capture the hearts and minds of so many people worldwide? Well, to put it simply, the primary appeal of One Piece is the simple premise of adventure. And yes, that is also the core concept of countless other shonen series, but nothing really captures the same sense of scale and exploration as the
Probably
world
going
of
mad
pirates.
adventures.
Our hero on this voyage is the energetic young pirate, Monkey D. Luffy. Luffy is a simple character with a simple goal, to find the mysterious treasure only known as One Piece, and in doing so, become king of the pirates.
The hell is
This
One
was Luffy's
Piece?
primary
Oh, you
motivator
tripped out,
in
though. I like the
chapter 1 and
chain.
remains so in chapter
That's kinda tough.
804. And this keeps Luffy's journey along the one distinct path, which is a concept surprisingly unique to One Piece. In most other shonen series, our heroes will go on several different large adventures.
Man, I love
throughout
Hunter
the
x
course
Hunter.
of its run, and these are what make up the
That's
arcs.
that's my shit.
But
I ain't
in
gonna
One Piece's
lie to
case,
you.
it's always the same journey along the same path, to the point that
Why
you
is
can
it moving
actually
like
chart
that?
Luffy's route out on a physical map. And the sub-arcs come from the various different islands or land masses the crew encounters along the
Ooh,
way.
that's-
This works particularly well as it makes the core story of One Piece very easy to understand, while also allowing for a massive amount of variety in the series sub-arcs. Some can be
hell?
very simple, like the Barty arc, in which the Straw Hats visit a famous sailing restaurant in order to recruit a chef. Or very complicated, like the Dressrosa arc, in which the crew must untangle a
Oh, that's
web
the,
of political intrigue and
flamingo
face down a
dude.
vicious and tyrannical false
His outfit
king.
is, whew, it's
And
fly,
because
though.
of
I
how
ain't
the
gonna
arcs
lie
are
to you.
structured with literal massive quantities of ocean between them, there's no real limit to the kind of stories One Piece can tell. They start off fairly villain of the week-esque, with most enemies being rival pirate captains. But as we move on,
like
we
his
see the
outfit.
Straw Hats embroiled in government conspiracies, abducted by massive haunted ghost ships, springing jailbreaks,
What the
and even
hell?
being at the center
Wait, why is he in
of
jail
large
for? Was that
scale
Luffy in
global
jail?
conflict. And throughout the entire adventure, there's this real genuine sense of time and progress. When Luffy sets out on his journey from Fuchsia Village, he has little more to his name than a wooden dinghy and his straw hat. And now, 20 years later, he's an infamous pirate.
Okay, they looking
the
fly
world-famous
though.
captain of one of the most
I like
renowned
that
pirate crews in
outfit.
all of existence, the Straw Hat Pirates.
That's one thing I
who
can get
include a
some,
master
bro.
samurai, a technologically advanced pantsless
Like the
cyborg,
drawings.
and even an undead violinist with a awful, amazing sense of humor. One of the core joys of One Piece is watching Luffy slowly ascend in status and build his crew as each new battle propels him closer to his dream while also increasing his notoriety.
Oh man, they going crazy.
It's not ever a story you could accuse of moving quickly, but it is always moving, and I think it's only when you look back that you see how far Luffy and his crew have actually come. Of course, the success of an adventure series is largely dependent on the world the adventure takes place in, and this is another
he
area
just
where the series shines.
dropped in the sky like
One Piece's
that.
world, to put it simply, is the largest, most intricately detailed and well thought out of any of the
Long
long-running
arm
shonen
ass.
series, which may not be obvious from the offbeat cartoonish designs of Oda's artwork, but make no mistake, this is a world of layers with its own government, economy, cultural and racial divides, with many, many different factions, all of whom have their own philosophies and motivations.
Interesting.
While Luffy and his crew are often at the center or at least involved in large-scale global incidents,
man, Robin.
the world also progresses
She's so
entirely
fine, bro.
separate to them.
I ain't
Major
gonna
plot
lie.
incidents completely separate from the Straw Hats are common, and when they
What was
do
that?
occur, they reverberate throughout the world on such a scale that it drastically affects the lives of every character in it, such as Porticus D. Ace's showdown with Blackbeard that resulted in the Great Summit War.
Damn, they got
It always
bazookas?
feels like there's a larger picture in one piece,
Bruh.
and depending on the
The
global
hell?
political climate of the time, Luffy and the Straw Hats' allies and enemies can switch.
Bro, I
from
keep
arc
seeing
to
this
arc,
clown dude,
giving
bro.
the world this intriguing, ever-changing dynamic. And so One Piece's world succeeds on a grand scale. But what may be even more impressive is the characters that Oda has filled it with. What at first can seem like a cartoon gag character,
I like the
can,
fro!
through Oda's storytelling, become a portrait of life at its cruelest and most tragic.
What the hell?
And this information is often delivered through weighty flashback stories, in which we're taken through the key moments of a character's life. And while a badly used
there a
flashback
lot
can
of
utterly kill
flashbacks like the
momentum of a
Naruto's?
series,
Oh.
Oda uses them in such a way to give his characters weight, grounding, and motivation
Hold
that
on.
otherwise
Let me know in the comments if One Piece flashbacks are worse than Naruto. I'm a big Naruto fan, bro, but the flashbacks were getting out of hand, bro. If we got about like 800 characters and all get flashbacks, I don't know, bro. I don't know about that.
You guys make me sick to my stomachs, fam. Honestly.
this just wouldn't be possible. Like, seriously, you see this dumb-looking idiot in a diaper?
Bro, who is this?
Is Senor Pink, and this guy has a backstory that is absolutely heartbreaking. And upon hearing it, it completely changes
I'm not
everything
feeling the
about how you
outfit.
see him. Moving swiftly along. Actually, no, wait, no.
Yeah, bro,
I
we
know
gotta
some of you
come
out there
back to
don't
that.
believe me, so we're gonna prove it. Let's do this.
Bro, dingling
Senor
all out.
Pink started out his adult life as a member of the brutal Don Quixote crime family, where
he's
his
in a
days
police
were
force.
frequently filled
Oh, we
with criminal
going crazy.
activity and brutal violence. Until one day, in the pouring rain, he met a woman who he immediately fell in love with. They
like
got
it.
married, had a child, and for a
Oh, he
while
fly,
at least,
though.
everything was perfect. Except that Pink was still involved in the Don Quixote
Ooh.
family, which he hid from his wife for fear that she might leave him. One day he's called away on a secret mission and disappears for an entire week, and upon returning, discovers that the day he left, his precious son had passed away.
What?
And now, his wife, furious and heartbroken, demands an explanation, and he tells her everything, at which point she demands he stay away from her, rushes from the home in the pouring rain, before getting into an accident that leaves her in a vegetative state.
Damn!
Devastated by the events, visits her every day in hospital,
Bro!
until one day, on a whim, puts on a bonnet reminiscent of their son in an attempt to entertain her, and miraculously, she cracks a small, delicate smile. And so, for the sake of seeing his wife smile, he continues to dress more and more elaborately,
What
even
the
during the
fuck?
ridicule of everyone around him. Years later, his wife too has passed, but he's still dressed this way out of remembrance for her and of his beloved son. And so, one of the silliest looking characters in One Piece actually has legitimate character motivation for dressing this way. And in justifying
actually
this, he
sad as
becomes an
hell.
actual grounded, tangible character. What really gets me here is that this is one tiny, inconsequential character in One Piece's world. And
Man.
yet still, Oda manages to imbue him with a sense of depth and grounding many writers fail to give even their main protagonists. And that's to say nothing of the amazing job Oda's done in establishing the main major heroes.
Okay. That kind of reeled me in a little bit. All right, Oda, I'm gonna let you cook. I'm gonna go ahead.
And villains of One Piece's story. Having so many characters with such fleshed out histories and motivation is the primary factor that makes One Piece's worlds feel so vivid and alive, and makes each individual
the Merc got
character
mad
feel like
people.
a true story in their own right. The last thing I'd like to talk about with One Piece is also one of its least tangible elements, and that is the creativity and imagination that's gone into it. There's always a sense that when reading One Piece, Oda himself is enjoying the world and characters more than anyone. It can be seen in the new and creative ways Luffy uses his at first seemingly limited power. It can be seen in the bizarre visual design of many
Bro,
of the
why is he
inhabitants
built like
and
that?
the camaraderie that takes place between the Straw Hats.
What am I
And
looking
even
at?
in the ever-evolving, unique structure of Oda's story
Bruh.
arcs. He always seems like an author not striving to hit a deadline, but an artist creating a world and story distinctly of his own vision. This is something we're going to dig a lot deeper into in a future video, but for now, just trust me, simply no one writes a story like Ichiro Oda. So with all that in mind, where should you start? Well, the obvious answer is page 1, chapter 1. The manga is for the most part a fantastic read, but I understand people's reluctance to get into it given its insane length. And the anime comes with many of its own issues too, such as a weak production run and masses of filler. But if you're curious to know if One Piece really is for you or not, or even if you just want to dip your toe in, allow me to present a different option, and that is the fantastic One Piece Movie 6, Bara no Matsuri and the Secret Islands. Directed by Mamoru Hosoda of the Digimon movie, The Girl Who Leapt Through Time and Summer Wars, the movie encapsulates, in a digestible 90 minutes, everything that makes One Piece as a series so much fun, on top of having some absolutely gorgeous animation and character designs, and one of the darkest and hardest right turns I've seen in any film for a while. It requires basically no prior knowledge of One Piece or its world to enjoy, and I think even if you have zero interest in One Piece, seeing one of Japan's most talented directors put his own unique spin on the world of pirates is absolutely worth checking out. Guys, that's going to do it for my intro into One Piece, and there is still a ton more we need to talk about. The characters, their themes, Oda's unique visual aesthetic, and what cursed food he ate in order to actually be able to constantly produce a manga of such quality. And we shall in a full-blown why you should watch/read One Piece coming later this year. But I hope this video, at the very least, has given you a foothold with which to get started. And also, as some of you are...
Alright, that video wasn't too bad. I'm not gonna lie. Kinda getting me into it, man. But I feel like... I don't know, man. Maybe I just need... I'm gonna try to... Maybe if I read to like some openings and like maybe some fights... just give me some suggestions, to be honest, man. If I'm being real with y'all, just give me some suggestions in the comments, and man, and I'll see y'all on the next one, man. Really. Peace.
Saying I might hit your jaw. I just might call shit wrong when I get a Dragon Ball. Yeah, I'm a god, and I'ma wish for it all. We nigga call him Young Child. I'm fighting, I will never fall. Power ain't never been small. Fighter Z, Fighter Z, Fighter Z. Hit you in your mouth with some